All right. Let's bring this in a little bit more. All right. Well, it is a windy day. Hey, welcome to our Wednesday Live. They're held every Wednesday at about 11 o'clock, barring any other challenges to life, appointments. Things like today, we're not out in the greenhouse because it's crazy weather. We've had gusts up to about 80 miles an hour today. Greenhouse is doing great. The Christmas display, not so much. There we go. There, now it looks more holiday seasonal. Get those poinsettias in there. So if you don't know, I run two channels. I have Ag Teacher Thoughts, which is this channel, and then I have Ag Teacher Christmas, which is a Christmas-based channel because I do a animated Christmas display, like a crazy Christmas lighthouse also. This year I chose big plastic Christmas light bulbs and blow molds, like the blow mold nativity and such, as my theme. Most all of them are knocked over. They're all zip tied to a stake, so not going anywhere, but they're all knocked over. I had computer controllers fall over last night, so the show's not running tonight. I'll figure out a way to get that back up. Luckily, the biggest display ornament that I have, it's with a bulb on top, it'd be 12-foot tall tree made out of like giant Christmas lights. I laid that over on its side last night because I knew winds were coming. But the star on the roof of my house has moved back many feet. It's never moved in any of the windstorms before, but we've also never had 80 miles an hour when I've had stuff on the roof. And I had Christmas lights kind of strung across the roof. I think those have mostly blown off the backside of the house. So we're inside today. Well, hey, since this is kind of a holiday theme, I did check the fireplace is drafting in the correct direction. Hopefully it stays in the correct direction. So I'm going to go ahead and start a little bit of ambiance. As soon as I can figure out where I put the way to light it. Yep. I know I should be doing something else like regular logs, but not going to do that today because it takes a while to get those going. And this one is going to be easier to put out if I have smoke decide it suddenly wants to come in the wrong direction. But all I really have to do is open one of our front windows and it will blow the smoke out of anything behind that window, which is going to be the fireplace. So yeah. I should probably do a post to let people know that we're going. What better thing to do a post than probably don't need the flash on tonight or today. But anyway, let me get this post uploaded. Okay. It's kind of quiet. So I will let folks know that we are live. I did do a post this morning that I didn't know if this was going to happen because I honestly didn't know if we were going to wake up with power this morning. When I was out checking everything last night, There we go. Just sent a post out. When I was checking things last night, well, actually at about like 5 o'clock this morning, which is when the wind set in, woke up and I could see what looked like lightning, but it was actually like power line flashes. So all around up above me, there was power line flashes. So I didn't know if I was going to have power today. But, you know, thanks to a cell phone, we can upload those. So, hey, what are we going to cover today? Well, we have all the components for the heater for the greenhouse. So the propane heater that we're designing, yeah, we've got all the components for that. In fact, I've got a bunch of them here. Of course, I have them staged. So I'll kind of talk through those, and then I'm hoping a few more people will arrive, and then we will talk about the real thing that everybody wants to know about, which is the Firefly Petunias. So this is the burner nozzle that you've seen before. This is what I ran the test burn for. So we've got that. This next piece down below, this is our flame sensor. So that's our thermocouple. So this is, I had thought when I did one of my other videos that this worked in a different way, but I've learned since then how it actually works. This thermocouple takes heat energy and it turns it into electrical energy. And then there's a magnet in here. So this turns into an electromagnet that actually holds that gas valve open. So if this cools off, it stops producing electricity, the valve shuts, and the gas flow ceases. Okay, so this is our safety device. So if the flame goes out, the flow of gas will stop. Okay, so this was a very important safety device. So really glad we hadn't gotten to super cold freezing temperatures because, well, our community kind of got reminded about propane. If you saw in the national news about a U-Haul truck exploding because of a propane gas leak, that was here. That was in my community. So, yeah, so that is going to control that, make sure it shuts off that flow of gas if something happens. I was able to find basically commercial everything. So everything on here was taken from a local kind of hardware outdoor store, farm store. It's a great big farm store. But all of this, other than thermocouple, I bought online, but everything else is actually industry specific. So I haven't hacked together anything. Even regulator. So that is all our gas handling, our gas management system is all right here. Reason we're not putting that in today, which that was the plan. That was the plan for the live this week, was actually to install the gas system. It is still rather windy. Usually I know my house is enduring winds over 40 miles an hour when the doors start really whistling, and they've been whistling most of the day. So we will put that gas system in hopefully later this week. I've been checking the weather and seeing that we're going to start turning colder again this week. We've been in the 50s and 60s for the last few days, which is abnormal for us. If 50s and 60s for us would be fall or spring, and this is December. Last week we hit 68. Normally we'd be in the 20s. So it is abnormal. We're getting a atmospheric river directed right at us. Although we are far enough from the coast and in a couple of rain shadows, we're not getting the same extreme amounts of wind, but we are getting a lot of wind. So there's that update. The propane heater will be running hopefully by next week, and it'll be running on its own. I've got all sorts of bracketry that I need to hook up to make sure that nothing moves, and I've got sheet metal that's going to be covering everything. So it should be fairly secure, fairly safe. Yes, it's going to be safe and secure. We'll just put it that way. So that's all ready to go. Okay, so what is the other thing? So I kind of hinted at Firefly Petunias, and kind of surprised I don't have any of my Firefly folks in the chat. I actually haven't seen anybody jump on the live. But Firefly Petunias, I sent out a post. Raker's Nursery, which is over in the Midwest, is one of the producers of the cutting material, so the starts. And they have been advertising to growers that stock for the Firefly Petunias for the 2026 year are for sale. Now, that doesn't mean that we as homeowners can go and reach out to rakers and buy those cuttings. You do have to go through a broker, but also there's a minimum quantity. So it's box quantities only, and they're being sold in trays of 51. And I think there's a 4-tray minimum. So you've got to get like 204 Firefly Petunias if you want to buy them from the broker. And they still have the royalty on them. So they're a lot. I don't have the space to grow 204 Firefly Petunias, though I'd really like to. Had I still been working at the school, yeah, we would have done that and would have really kind of pushed. We would have been pushing Firefly Petunias, definitely kind of reaching out to the local community. We would have brought in 200 of them and really kind of sold them on kind of, what would you say? On the fact that they're bioengineered and it being such a learning tool. But I'm not with the school anymore. I'm actually working at a local factory. So I don't have the facilities to grow a bunch of Firefly Petunias. So don't reach out to me to get them. But I will let you know when they start to go on sale. So I have been monitoring things. The Light Bio website has from time to time had glitches on it where it's kind of tipping its cards and showing what is coming up for the 2026 season, but they are not officially selling anything on there as far as I could tell. Every time I find a way in through a search engine as far as to sales stuff, it's just showing me kind of like placeholders, but it just, pops up moments later and says we're sold out for the 2025 season, even though the search that led me there said it was the 2026 season. So it looks like they're getting ready there. As far as news about Light Bio and Firefly Petunias, I don't get anything more special than what is generally released to the public. So I'm not associated with them. I'm not employed by them. I'm not sponsored by them. I would really love to be sponsored by them, but we're not sponsored by them yet. So I don't know if we're getting the more intense Firefly Petunia that they've alluded to. So there has been talk in many different social media posts that are connected to Light Bio and growers for Light Bio that say that there's a 6 times brighter plant in the future. I don't know if that one is the one that's coming out. I don't know if that one's coming out next year or if it's coming out. I know we all heard about the bioluminescent mum, like chrysanthemum. No word on that. And a lot of us are really wanting to know about different colors. No word if we're going to be having different colors this year. So at this point, it looks like if you want different color Firefly Petunias, you've got to do that breeding work yourself, which leads us into the next part of our discussion. What is, if you could hear that whistling and vibration noises, that's a pretty good wind gust. It's about the highest I've seen that my anemometer go, and I know it's not accurate. And it said 31, but I know it's slow. But anyway, as far as if you want Firefly Petunias that are a little bit different than what is offered, that's going to be something you're going to have to take care of yourself. And that leads me into really what I wanted to talk about, which is where are we going with the channel and where are we going with Firefly Petunias? The good news is even though you saw my other post, you might have seen that where I said I'm saying goodbye to my Firefly Petunias. It means I'm saying goodbye to the majority of my stock plants and my mother plants. from this year's growing season. So we're clearing those out to make room for our next batch of experiments in the greenhouse. So remember, greenhouse is fairly small. It will hopefully if things go well, I'll be building a bigger greenhouse later this summer. But I need to get rid of the plant material that I'm not currently using. So a lot of my stock plants were kind of silenced. Firefly petunias don't like aphids. They really don't. And I've found that they react adversely when they're attacked by aphids. So if they have a heavy infestation, they'll actually go dim. So they'll be kind of silenced or dim. And the Firefly petunias, majority of mine did that. I've got just one stock plant that still is bright as it always is. And that one is the one we're keeping, and we're getting rid of absolutely everything else. Even my great big mother plant, the one that was, arm circumference, the great big one, she's going away, and we're going to start anew with just what we can propagate off of the existing smaller mother plant. So we're going to keep one. Everything else is being tossed. It's being composted. So what are we going to do with the channel as far as Firefly petunias? Well, we're gonna carry on with where we were. So part of the reason I needed bench space in the greenhouse is we've got a lot of hybrids to plant. There's a lot of cross pollinations and hybrids and other experiments that we need to do. Using last year's seed where we had our F1 cross, so it's our first generation. We're going to cross those. We've crossed those back to Firefly petunias to try to gain that glow back. And then we're going to grow those up to whatever colors we like, and then we'll cross them back again. So we're trying to get color and glow strength at the same time. So that's going to be one experiment that we're going to do. And I'm going to walk you through all the stages of that. Again, we're going to go through pollination and crossbreeding and starting seeds. So that's one thing there. The other part, and this is going to be the main part where I'm going to try to help you out as the home consumer, the home grower, the person that may have never tried Firefly petunias before or even really gardening before. I'm going to take you through step by step with the Firefly petunia, basically growing process or growing techniques. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to purchase Firefly petunias through a few different ways. So I will be purchasing the 3-plug set. That was, sold by Home Depot and sold by Light Bio. You could get plugs, so the individual plugs. We'll start with that. And then when the Firefly petunias come out in the little 4-inch round pots, we'll buy some of them that way. So we'll buy them both ways. And then I'm going to walk you through the process of how to care for that plant once you have it. So you're going to know every step of the way what size we need to transplant that up to the next step, and what soil we're going to use, what growing conditions, what fertilizers, what what pesticides, because we do need to use some. We are going to have to kill some aphids. We are going to have to kill some budworm. But I'm going to walk you through every step-by-step bit of that, so you're going to be able to follow along. So it will probably be either a video or two a week or multiple videos a week. It's really going to depend on kind of the need at the time of how many videos, but we'll do a step-by-step series of how to grow the Firefly petunia. Because as a grower, I've done this a lot. I taught this for 8 years. I lived a life of it for 43 years. Part of it was concurrently at the same time. But I've got well over 40 years experience of greenhouse growing. And I want to make sure that if you get a Firefly petunia, that you are happy with it and that it performs great for you. Coffee time. Also hearing an emergency vehicle. It's a mess out there, even though it's sunny. That wind is knocking over a lot of stuff. I guess a lot of road signs were knocked over, tree branches, power lines, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I spent a lot of time this year on social media doing advocacy work. We'll call it that way. So again, not tied to Light Bio, but I was doing advocacy work for the Firefly petunia, because as an educator and as a nurseryman, I want to see people excited and happy with new plant material. So I've looked at a lot of photos. I've done a lot of consultative care. So people send me photos. People ask me questions. You are welcome to ask questions about growing on any of my YouTube formats. You can ask those growing questions, whether it's on a video or it's on a live or a post. Ask those questions. I will answer them. Life gets super busy. Usually, it can take me upwards of a week to get to a question. But if not, life isn't busy, I'll answer the same day. But ask those questions, because I've seen people with Firefly petunias that are still, this big. My Firefly petunia, see if I can get in there, was like this big. I want you to have the Firefly petunia that's this big. I don't want you to have the Firefly petunia that's this big. Okay, so I want to see you grow that. I saw a lot of them that were very small, kept in the original container. Ones that were very, very hungry. Firefly petunias need to be fed the right fertilizer to get that deep green color and the brightest glow. I saw a lot of Firefly petunias that were grown indoors. And I know for a lot of people, that's the only option. But here we grow them outdoors. We grow them in part sun. It will not be uncommon for us to get to 115 degrees here. But we compensate that by giving them morning sun. So from basically sunrise up to about noon, 1 o'clock, and then they're in the shade. And they do really, really well in that here. But if you're in a more temperate region, I'm in a high desert. If you're in a more temperate region where the temperatures get up to about 85 or so in the summer, it's going to do perfect, and it could probably go in full sun. A little dappled shade would probably help. But I'm going to step you through that process. We're going to talk about every piece of material that you need for that to get the really big Firefly petunias. And we're going to grow all of our petunias in ways that you're going to be able to grow them, and you're going to experience that. So I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to be successful. So if you're struggling with something, come to the channel, and we're going to have an answer for you. So I've gotten really good at looking at plants and telling you what's wrong, or having you describe it, and I'll tell you what's wrong. What do you need to change? So that's going to be an option there, is to follow along. I guess, I could also put together a little bit of like a purchase list or a playlist, purchase list and a playlist, so you know what to purchase and where to purchase it from, so that you're getting the right things. So we're gonna talk about the right soil, right? So I use a very particular soil. Luckily, that soil is available at Home Depot, so it's available pretty much nationwide. We're going to talk about right container. So we got to right size the containers for our Firefly petunias. A lot of people were keeping them in too small of containers this year. Then we're going to talk about food, the fertilizer. We do use a mineral fertilizer. I'm not going to call it artificial, because it's all natural ingredients. Everything in it is mined from the ground. It's just people think it's artificial, but it's actually minerals. It's mined from the ground and put together. It's the right fertilizer for the plants in the right formulas and the right chemical types that they like it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about IPM, or integrated pest management. Our first pest we're going to tackle is going to be budworm. So those are the ones that are going to eat the blossom before you see it. We will tackle those. I will let you know as soon as I start seeing them, and I will show you how to identify budworm damage. And then we'll talk about what we're going to use to tackle those little caterpillars. Then we'll get into aphids. Thrips don't seem to be a problem, at least in my area. I do see thrips, but I don't have infestations of thrips that are causing damage on my outdoor petunias. But I mean, in a greenhouse around here, I've had them get out of control. But out in the wild, there's been enough insect life and predators to take care of my thrips. The aphids, however, they're a problem. And by the time you really get to notice that your Firefly petunia has a lot of aphids, it's going to be a serious problem, and it could kill your Firefly petunia. So we're going to talk about aphids and kind of contingencies. So everybody loves their original plant, but I would say give yourself a chance to have some lifeboats. Firefly petunias are expensive, And having a lifeboat or a second or third or fourth plant will help. And I'll show you how to propagate those. So a lot of people do like to buy multiples up front, which I encourage you to do. Support the Light Bio company so they continue to bring us products that we enjoy, like the Firefly Petunia. But also, if you want and have that desire to learn propagation, I'll go ahead and teach you that, because this is an ag learning channel. It's not solely a Firefly Petunia channel, but it is very much become one. But yeah, we'll go over propagation. This live's been a little quiet. I know my last few that I tried, it had muted my comments, and I'm not seeing anything there, and it's not showing me anybody in the live, but that's okay. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Oh, how about yeah, these guys. Let's talk a little bit about poinsettias. Okay, so it's holiday. We're going to talk about poinsettias, then we're going to talk about the amaryllis. So we're switching gears here. So poinsettias, or correctly pronounced poinsettias, I don't know. That's what we always call them when I was a kid. That's what we were told by the people from Paul Ecke Poinsettia Ranch, which is really the nursery that really made poinsettias a Christmas special. So one of the questions that I often get, and this is one that my administration asked me about when I was teaching, they're like, well, why aren't you using the greenhouse in the winter? I was like, it's expensive to run. We don't have a crop. And he's like, sell poinsettias. No. Okay. And this is a word of advice to other ag teachers out there. As far as high schools selling and raising poinsettias, it's pointless. See what I did there? So poinsettias, these I bought at Home Depot on Black Friday. You want to have a guess of how much these cost? How about I couldn't make money selling them? This is a special buy by Home Depot, and they let you buy up to 10 of them. And of course, I bought 10 of them. I've got a bunch of them, gave a bunch of them away, but I love poinsettias. It's one of the first plants that my dad tried to raise in our greenhouse over the winter, and we've had poinsettia disasters. They're very, very sensitive to light. We'll get into that in a moment, but this poinsettia from Home Depot on Black Friday was $1.25. $1.25. I couldn't buy what's in here for $1.25. By the time I paid shipping on the cutting, paid for the cutting royalty, paid for the pot, paid for the soil, paid for the foil wrapper, I would be underwater. I cannot compete with a company like Home Depot, which is going to blast them out as a doorbuster for $1.25. It's two for $2.50. I think is what it was. I think it was $1.25. Yeah, I know it was $1 something. But previously they'd been 2 for $5, so $2.50 a piece. Still not enough for me to make money, especially if I'm paying for propane. I'm paying for my time. So I don't do poinsettias. I don't do poinsettias as a high school teacher running a nursery program. It's too much risk. So cost is one. So cost and sale. Two, it's a longer growing season in the fall when there's nothing else there. So the only thing you will be growing is poinsettias. So that's one product. The other thing is you have a tiny window to get absolutely everything right. Poinsettias are photoperiod sensitive. So they will only grow if the photo or they'll only turn red. So these leaves turn red. These are leaves. Those are not petals. Those are leaves. The actual flowers are deep down inside here, which is those little tiny orange things or yellow things, yellowy green. And there's a little frill, which is kind of your petals. But these bracts or petal-like leaves, they will only turn color if you've done the exact light treatment. So the reason my family quit growing poinsettias is we had a nasty weather day when we were growing poinsettias one fall. The power went out, and a truck from the local power company drove out to our house because we had a power line that terminated at the greenhouse, so it stopped at the greenhouse, and they were out there to try to manage the electrical power. They drove down the back of our property right to the front of the greenhouse and nosed in facing the greenhouse. And they left the headlights, the high beam headlights, because they wanted to see what they were doing. They left those on in the middle of the night for 15 minutes. These are photo period sensitive. They had not yet begun to turn red. When that happened, you could look in the greenhouse and you could see this V where there were poinsettias that didn't turn red. It was a V of green. Just 15 minutes of light at the wrong time, even headlight intensity through the wall of a greenhouse, was enough to turn off the photo sensitivity of this plant, and it didn't turn red. We had a massive crop loss. When you're dealing with tight margins like you do in a greenhouse, it's devastating. That, as far as I remember, that is the last time we ever did poinsettias. Now, when it comes to a high school, in the fall, almost every high school has a football team, and they play at night, which means they turn on the field lights. And where my greenhouse was located at my last school was definitely by the football field. Where it was located from by the school at the school before, football field. The school before that, parking lot, which then would have headlights and security lights for football. So you would have to completely black out the entire greenhouse, and you'd have to remember to do that every single day. Because if you forget one day, 15 minutes, you're done. Or if someone turned on the lights for a practice and you weren't expecting it and the curtains weren't drawn, you're done. So this is a very, very sensitive plant, one that you can really mess up if you get the photo period wrong. So that's why I don't grow it. And the other thing is, in North Idaho, I would spend more money in propane heating my greenhouse. This is a warm plant. I'd spend more money in propane than what I would make selling poinsettias. So I don't raise them. Yeah, it's something for a fall greenhouse class, but my question would be, why do you run a fall greenhouse class? Greenhouses are spring things, right? Spring semester. So this is not something I grow. They're also really, really sensitive to things. Poinsettias, if you take them out in freezing weather, so even if you are purchasing them in a store and you're walking to the car and you're putting them in a cold car, that can be cold enough for them to drop their leaves. They'll drop their leaves as a cold response. We don't want to do that. This is a, I won't say kind of tropical plant, but this plant is native to like Mexico. Right? That's where this plant comes from. It likes it warm. It likes it warm. It likes it warm. It doesn't like cool weather, which is what gives it a cold response and the leaves drop off. So that's why we're not doing poinsettias. Yep. No money in it. And a touchy plant. Now, let's give kind of an update on some of our other plants that I was growing. I was going to do another video, but the one on the amaryllis just wasn't really well received. I know this is kind of something, a plant that you like give grandma, but I like them. So let me grab a couple of amaryllis. They're over to the side of me. I'll get those and we'll kind of talk through them and we'll give kind of a reaction or kind of a results. So let me go grab an amaryllis. Oh, the camera's going to kind of wash it out. Let's see if this one is. See if we can get it closer. Oops, I just broke a leaf. There you go. That is one of the amaryllis that we planted earlier. So this is one of the ones that we got from Home Depot. This one, I really, really like it. Right? We'll get you a nice close up so you can just focus on that. So this is one of the Home Depot specials. So this is one of the bare bulbs. This one was a peacock. So a peacock bulb. So this is a double amaryllis. I think this one performed one of the best of the amaryllis that I got. I really, really like this one. It has had 4 blossoms on the spike. So this one is a definite buy. All right, let me put this down. And I'll get the tag for you. Okay, 1 blossom peacock bulb. Recommended. So that is that's the results for that one. I do highly recommend this amaryllis. This is one that I think you as a grower would be very, very happy with. I would say I have been quite happy with it. Definitely something that I will purchase again. But you don't really need to purchase amaryllis twice. You just need to grow them in the right location and they will be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one back. Okay, so this is the second amaryllis. See if we can get that to stop moving. Okay, this is just a standard white. Now, this one has a few more buds on it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 buds, but it's a single. This, also had a second bloom spike, but it has no leaves. Right, this was just kind of a bare one. This one was $20-ish, I think. So it came in the container, but there's no hole in the bottom. Not super excited about this white amaryllis. So this one was one of the, I tried to go through and buy every one of the amaryllis that Home Depot had. So that was a part of that video that we shot earlier. And there's the blossom. Now it is pretty, but it's not exciting. It's pretty, but it's not exciting. So I do love the quantity, but I would love to have more of the leaves on it, which we didn't have on this amaryllis. So I'll give you another close-up of that one. All right. And I'll probably do some cross-pollinating of these today. I see the stamens are open, and I didn't even think about it. But, hey, that's this channel. We should do that. Grabbing another amaryllis. Be right back. All right. There we go. There's another amaryllis there. So that's the other one that we did. Oh, okay. That's interesting. We didn't get the one we asked for. I hadn't looked at the tag yet. This is supposed to be marquee, a bulb of marquee, which is supposed to be a double white. Let me show you that again. That's not a white. That's a candy cane stripe. But it's got veining on it, which I actually really, really like. So this is, I don't know how I can recommend this one to you because it's not the solid white, but it is fantastic. I do love this amaryllis. This by far is a very intense double, and I do really appreciate that. So this one's been going for a while. You can see 2 blossoms are down. Oh yeah, there's no pollinating this one because, well, we've got female parts on this one, but I don't know if it's going to be true all the way through. If you've seen my video on how to make double flowers, this is kind of the example of that. We're basically taking those slots where you can have sepals, petals, stamen, or pistil, and we're switching them for other things. We're switching them for more petals. So this one is not pollinatable, unfortunately. There's nowhere for the pollen to go, and there's currently no pollen parts on there. Oh, I got one stamen. I could grab the pollen from that. We'll put it on the single and see what happens. But yeah, there we go. There's an update. I do have one more amaryllis from that purchase that has not yet opened. So when that one opens, we'll do an update for that. It's just a bulb, right, or just a bud right now. Yeah, live stream's been a little quiet today, but that's okay. So, as you're watching this video, if you want more content from me, maybe a little more outdoor gardening and not necessarily plant related, you can check out my other channel, which is Ag Teacher Christmas. I'll put a link down in the description of this, but it is going to be a little bit before I'm able to get a link put in there. YouTube makes this process for like a day before it'll go back live to the public. So it'll give me a little bit before I can put that down there. But anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it today. It's been a little bit, well, actually, let's not wrap it yet. I have new plants coming. And we should probably talk about that. Since it's alive, we'll talk about that. So I have new plants that are going to be given to me by a coworker who had a shipping disaster. So if you look back about a year ago, we had a shipping disaster for our high school greenhouse. Our plants got sent across the country, and they basically came from the West Coast, passed us, went to the East Coast, got kicked around in a warehouse and came back, and then got to us days after their, what should have taken 2 days, took almost 5, something like that. They were destroyed. He had a shipping disaster in that he ordered tropical plants for some of his terrariums, and just as kind of a hobby plant to play with. And they got frozen. So they were in Minnesota, and the weather turned cold. It was negative temperatures, like negative 20, negative 30. Why they shipped them without a heat pack and shipped it 5-day, I don't know. But the plants did die. I'm not gonna tip my cards on what company that was, but he had, I think, pretty much a complete loss of everything. Now, some of the plants that he's giving me are ones that I had actually planned to add to our collection this spring, because I was a little leery about shipping them up even from California, because it's not great weather for shipping plants, which makes it hard as a grower to ship plants because you got to ship them in December and January. But anyway, his froze, and some of the plants in question were what's known as Nepenthes. And Nepenthes is a South American tropical pitcher plant. And I think, or is that Sarracenia? But anyway, Nepenthes, I know they're grown, they occur in multiple locations across the world, but they are a pitcher plant. So the kind that's got the little container in the end where the flies fall into them, the bugs fall into them. And there is even, yes, that Nepenthes that a shrew sits on like a toilet and eats a snack from the plant and does his business, and then that fertilizes the plant. So anyway, these Nepenthes, they were frozen. They do not like to get cold. Below 50 degrees, they're not happy, and they froze. So he has a couple of spares. He ordered some extra as they were coming in. He's going to give those to me as content for the channel, because he's also a subscriber. So he rather appreciates our channel and our content. So those, we're going to shoot a video of those as soon as we get them. We did get some more shipped in, or he got some more shipped in. So we're going to kind of look at those and see how they are. And I do have a spot. I have a spot for them to be, that they should be kept happy. We're going to start building that area out, an indoor grow area. And we're going to try to talk about indoor plants and outdoor plants, and see kind of some other options for those of you that don't have outdoor space or greenhouse available. So we're gonna talk about carnivorous plants. Nepenthes is a carnivorous pitcher plant. Sarracenia is kind of the North American pitcher plant. And then I can never remember the scientific name for Venus flytrap. But anyway, we're going to have an outdoor carnivorous plant garden, outdoor carnivorous plant bog this summer. And we're going to have some indoor pitcher plants. The pitcher plants can't go outside here. We get too hot. They'll burn and they'll dry up. They're not going to handle 115 degrees, even in the shade. So they'll be an indoor plant where we run the air conditioning and they'll be happy. But that's also what's coming. Anyway, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. So I know I kind of had a false in there, but we'll go ahead and wrap it here. So as always, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And if you're in North Idaho, hold on. It's windy. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.